guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to show you how I like to do tapered sleeves. What you see here, it's the most basic and maybe the most common way of doing a sleeve. The width of the shoulder and the wrist are the exact same. This sleeve tends to be bulky and very much shapeless once it comes to the wrist or the elbow area. So it's good for beginners, and if that's the piece and that's the vibe and the look, the fit you're going for, then this is the sleeve you're looking for. But if you want a more tapered look or a more fitted look, then this is the shape that you're probably looking for. If you can see here, this is more of a funnel shape, and I think that this works out just a little bit better. If you were to look at, I don't know, sewing patterns or sweater schematics, a lot of them tend to have this kind of funnel shape where the wrist is smaller than the shoulder, and then we just increase to get there. These squares can be anything, any unit of measurement that you're using, and it can be centimeters, inches, stitch count, or repetitions of a pattern. It does not matter. For this example, we're just going to use squares. My wrist measurement plus the ease gives me a total of 4 squares. So this is going to be the shoulder side. I tend to guide myself with the Yarn Council measurements because they seem to be a very good starting point, at least for me. For the large, I believe it's something around like 19 inches. So let's say I add 2 inches or however many inches of positive ease to that measurement, and that gave me a total of 10 squares. So in this example, I have 4 squares and I need to increase till I get 10 squares. But I cannot just increase one by one because I obviously have a set length. My arm is not that long. So I'm going to measure my arm. Now this can vary depending on where your body or of the cardigan ends. So you have to account for that. So let's say, for example, I have a total of 14 squares in length. Now I have a total of 10. Still right here. So I have a total of 10 squares, but I have 4. So what I'm going to do is minus 4. So that's 6. So that means I need to increase 6 times, assuming that every increase is 1 stitch, right? Or 1 square. So I can squeeze in these 6 increases if I increase by 2. Why? 2 times 6, 12. So that gives me plenty of time or plenty of room to do my increases and still reach my length. So for this example, I started with 2 and then an increase. When you increase on one side, you don't increase here again. You increase on the opposite side. So I've reached my 2 rows, and I'm going to go for another 2 rows. Now, if you see here, I need to increase again. I'm going to start with my first increase on my left side. So I'm going to increase for a total of 2 rows. And all this time, since I'm not working increases on the right side, I just have to keep going straight. So now that I completed my 2 rows and I need to increase on my right side, I will just increase here. And I know that I have to go back, and that's what I'm going to be working on, left side, right side. So if you look here, you have a total of 1, 2, 3 increases on the right side, 1, 2, 3 on the right side. So you have a total of 6 increases. So this is row number 12, and then it's a straight shot. So the beauty of doing it this way is that, say for example, you miscalculated or you read a measurement wrong, or you forgot to add positive ease to your measurement, you can always frog until the last point where you feel comfortable with. This is my wrist. This would be, I don't know, my elbow. And this is the last point where it feels comfortable. And then from here on up, it just feels a little bit tighter. So what you would have to do is say I now wanted to add, instead of 10, I wanted to add another square. So then I know that maybe I can squeeze in an extra increase here and maybe here, here. It won't change the overall shape. It will just make this portion wider. And this kind of sleeve, I feel like helps out a lot of people that maybe like myself, I have this problem where sometimes I fit in a size medium, but my arms didn't get the memo. So my arms need maybe a size large. And I think that's the beauty because when you crochet your own garments, you can adjust to your specific needs. And this kind of sleeve, this kind of construction really lends itself to it. Now, what would happen if we only did an increase on one side? Now, if you see here, if you were to fold it and sew this straight edge right here, it would not be symmetrical, something that looks more restrictive and ill-fitting. And you have to keep in mind that when you're working on a cardigan, the shoulder, when you look to the side, there is a certain kind of symmetry. However, if you were to copy and paste this shape right here and put it to the side, and just mirror this image, it gives you a nice little funnel. So this works if you're doing a back and front panel construction. So you would have to do that measurement or that armhole measurement in half. So instead of working on 10 squares, you would work maybe 5 squares. And instead of working 4, you would work on 2. So you're cutting this in half. Now these two shapes have the same measurement. It is 10 squares wide at the shoulder, 4 at the wrist, and it's the same length. However, this length I did it on a 12, right? So this is 12. But if you notice here, this was 14 squares or rows up and down, and this one is 12 rows up and down, right? But we still need to do the same amount of increases. But if you see here, the increases are varied and it gives me a slightly different shape. My wrist to, let's say, my forearm, it's going to be slightly more tapered than maybe the bicep area. This shape has been narrowed, and that is done by the increases that are being distributed just slightly different. Now, I know that because 6 and 2 are a multiple of 12, I know that I cannot start or do an increase in row number 12 because that is the maximum height I'm allowed or that I need. So I know that at row number 10, that is going to be my very last increase. So that means I can't evenly squeeze in 6 increases every 2 rows. So then I'm gonna have to get a little creative. And this is where getting some graph paper might help you figure out how to evenly distribute. So for example, here, I did a 1 row or 1 square increase. And then on the other side, if you see here, I increase 1 row later. So 1 increase, and then I go here, and then again, another increase right here, and then I went up again, but I did another increase, and then there's another increase right here and right here. And then from here on up, it's a straight shot. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 increases, but they're divided up slightly different. Now, if I wanted a much more fitted look, and if I didn't need this extra fabric up top, then I could do this. So I will increase by 2. And then my next increase will be one row, because it's right here. And then 2 rows later, I'll increase again right here. And then again 2 rows, but then here. And then from here is a straight shot. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I ended up dividing my increases in 2 rows, 1 row, 2, 1, 2, 1. And then from here, it's just a straight shot. So there's different ways that you can divide up your sleeve, and the count and the measurement. It just really takes some planning. This is an example of a sleeve that I am doing. I think that I made a little bit of a mistake and a little bit of a miscalculation up here. I feel like it's just too short for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna frog up until maybe here. I'll start working on more increases, maybe instead of every 7 rows, maybe instead every 6 or 5 rows, and then just try to get just a little bit wider. And that's what I really like about doing the sleeves this way, because it is a very forgiving way of doing the sleeves. And the same principle applies when you're working in the round. All you have to do is be mindful of how many decreases or increases depending on what way you're working. If you're starting from the shoulder and working your way down to the wrist, then you will be doing decreases. But if you're working your way up, then you're doing increases. If you're curious about this granny stitch and how to do increases, or even better, how to work decreases, I'm going to tag that video down below so you can go check it out. Thank you so much for being here, and if you like this video, you found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like. Thank you. Bye.